Boom, we're back.
Why did you say that? All right. Today's kind of an interesting day. Just a
What day is it?
not sure, but
Okay.
it's around this time
Yeah.
that about a year ago is when we started working on this podcast. Not sure if that's when we first recorded or if when we were like, hey, let's do a podcast. So it's been about a year. And so today, pretty much, we're just going to talk about kind of what we've been doing, what we may do.
So it's kind of
ideas
like a
you may
New
have.
Year's resolution.
Almost, yeah. It's New Year's, but not New Year's. And just kind of reflecting a little bit and trying to sort some stuff out or look for improvements and such like that. So anyway, like, what do you remember when we first started?
You know how many times we changed our setup?
About 1,000,000 times.
Okay, I mean,
I want to say it was like 6
I would say like 5 or 6. Yeah,
major changes.
yeah,
Like where,
that was a major change. Think about the first one. That's the one I specifically wanted to talk about.
okay, which one was that one? Was it the two
Yeah,
huge
so
tables?
2 L-shaped tables.
Yeah.
But we were sitting across from each other, and
Had 1,000,000 monitors for no reason.
no, we didn't have monitors.
that before we had
it was with the Mac.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a Mac that recorded everything. I think we recorded at 1080p, maybe lower at that point,
Yeah.
because we had webcams.
Oh, yes, that's right.
We had a webcam.
And how did we orient those? Was it kind of to the side?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So they wouldn't get caught in the cross stream of
Yeah, we had to set them up really weird too, like
Yeah.
place them on books and it, I remember you bought like that little thing that clamps to the table, but it
because
it looked like an
your
antenna.
slide kept moving.
Yeah, that's one of the best things that we did was take the camera off the table because I touched the table and moved the table a lot.
Yeah, and now we just have a separate camera away
From the table. So originally we had 2 cameras, one for you, one for me. And, that's something I actually kind of liked a little bit just because you had good framing on the individuals. But part of me was like, it just didn't feel continuous. It didn't, I don't know. It felt like less of you in the room and more just very separated things, kind of distracted almost.
Definitely.
And it was harder to edit, but I
Was
wouldn't.
it harder to edit?
TikToks, yeah. Remember, because the
But
transitions
it's already like
because here's the thing. Here's what we didn't do.
That
We
was
had
pre-transition though. Like we added the transitions a little bit after, and then that did not work out at all.
no, it was a little trash. Yeah. Honestly, what we could have done, I think we talked about this before, is have dedicated cameras and no flipping back and forth. We just record everything and then later edit it. And that was something we were going to do, but the editing work, we didn't have enough time for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Still
that's still
struggling on
something.
time. Still struggling on time.
That's still something I wouldn't mind doing at some point.
No, that sounds really fun. Because I know, the software we're using to record all of our podcasts is OBS, and there's actually a plugin online that lets you record different sources attached to OBS. So we could have 3 different cameras, and OBS would record full, like 4K files on each source.
Yeah.
But the reason why it didn't work out before is because our computer then wasn't beefy enough to do that.
Yeah.
But now we're recording. It lagged a little
Blipping,
bit.
yeah.
But now we're recording on one camera in 4K, and it is taking up. But one of our files is closer to between 30 and 35 gigabytes.
Goddamn.
So we had 3 cameras.
Yeah.
Like one facing me, one facing you, and one with both of us. That would easily hit 100 gigabytes per podcast. But I mean, we would just combine that after editing it and delete it. But that is definitely something we could do.
One thing with that, which I kind of would enjoy is the table setup. Then you could change the table setup a little bit, so it's not so like linear and sideways like this. Because I enjoy this because it's all in one frame, just a clean table. We start and go. But something that is difficult is I do have to turn like this, crane my neck. And we did have ideas. I think we were talking to Cody a while back of like, bending the table or getting two tables and having them oriented a certain way.
It
And
was like L-shaped desk.
yeah, and I forget exactly what the issue, why we didn't end up going with that.
It's just when we had two rectangles, instead of making like a complete L shape, one end on the other side, it was more like off put. So
Yeah.
we'd have a corner.
Yeah, and I think when we were also thinking about our TikToks and how in the camera frame, if we were that close together, it would still, I think we would catch a lot of the background that we didn't want, and we would be so close together that editing, we'd pretty much get like 1.5 of us in each frame. So I think that was kind of the idea, to not go that direction.
People know how to make cans. Sorry, I just thought about it because I was drinking it and I was looking into frame. I'm just like, wow, they really know how to like place
the
I'm drinking. I'm just like, wow, I am literally just showing off the brand.
Yeah, no, jeez. But with that, we could do different table setup if we had different cameras too, or if you don't really give a fuck about some of the editing stuff, doing more like a round table like we were talking about, and not even a big one, like a smaller one, and be facing each other more and doing podcasts like that.
I like that. I'm slowly building up my workshop.
Yeah, you have a bunch of random. You just got to learn how to use them now. I see that work you were trying to do over there.
No, yeah, I so that was the thing. I tried using my the Dremel rotating.
Yeah, the rotary tool. Yeah, the disc.
Yeah, and before I was going outside, I put it on the couch, at the top of the couch, like what I usually do. It just rolled and fell on like so the not the Dremel itself, but the attachment for it got slightly bent. Instead of straight up, it's like ever so slightly bent. And so when it spins, it just doesn't.
It wobbles and doesn't really grind that well and cut.
So that happened. I'm just like, okay, well, I need to figure out a different way to do it. And I tried that, and I ended up just making a crack into it. I mean, it shouldn't be a big deal if we're just putting lights on it.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see it. If anything, you could probably paint over it again.
Maybe. I don't. Did you paint both sides of that sign? We're talking about a sign, by the way, that we were going to start. Huh?
I did.
Oh, okay. Because I thought we were only going to paint one side and have the one of them reflective, and so the painted side was opaque, so we didn't look through the back, but we'd still have that shiny reflective part toward the front.
Oh, it's still kind of shiny.
Oh, it's a glossy paint. Okay.
Because we got a glossy one, and plus one side of the board was actually more matte than the other side. So one side still looks more matte, and then the other side still very
shiny.
glossy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because right now it's on the matte side, but if you flip it over, it'll be glossy.
So with this round table we were talking about, also guests, like we've only had a couple guests. Something I do want to do in the future is have more guests on there. And I don't know, I almost feel
You have friends.
Huh?
You have friends.
Do I don't know, maybe bring friends on here, and not sure, it would kind of come back to the purpose, like what we're doing this for and why we have individuals on or not. So actually pivoting the conversation a little bit, what was your reason for wanting to do a podcast then and now?
Oh wow, big change. Before, it was me being greedy. I was just thinking business stuff.
You wanted to make money. I think you said that on like the first
No, that's
first podcast.
exactly
I'm
what
like, why'd you do this? And you're like, I want to make money. I was like, oh, okay.
Totally wrong mindset. so much has changed in this past year. So much has changed in this last 4 months, if anything. And yeah, so that was it before. Horrible mindset. Now it's just I'm just kind of just trying to live life, and right now for the podcast I'm thinking I just kind of want to have fun with it, because at one point, I mean, at a certain point I had a lot of fun with just doing the podcast stuff without thinking about, you know, business type stuff like making money and whatever, because I realized that wasn't the mindset I should have going forward. It's just something to be able to get things off my chest and talk about stuff. And I think that's what it's really, in a way, it's kind of therapeutic for me. So
Okay.
so it's more for the benefit of my mental health, just talking about things, but it's also kind of detrimental putting in the work to get this like out into the world.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh shit, now I gotta do this and do that and make podcasts and such.
It's like a double-edged sword. Like, it helps, but it does put on more work. And I just want to do it just for fun, really. And I enjoy doing all the editing stuff and whatnot when I do have time.
I like editing when it's done. I hate the process a lot, usually. Like, okay, I like the process. I hate using the technology for it. I like kind of putting things together, but having to, you know, do that on a meeting or a medium like Adobe or any other editing software, I'm like, I just want to throw my computer through the wall.
Oh, by the way, fuck Adobe. I hate their monthly subscription shit. I'm about to just go to a different company and just completely just buy like
Just the one
their
time
software,
don't
like for $150.
do they do like a one-time buy thing, Adobe?
No,
No.
it's all monthly.
Didn't they used to do
I
one-time
think
buy?
so, like way back when. But right now it's all monthly, and it's stupid. The only thing that's not is, I know on like Steam for like game development, they do have their own softwares on there for a one-time buy. So that's
nice.
That's cool, but it's still very expensive.
So that's your reason for the podcast. So what?
Excuse you, what's yours?
What's my reason? Okay. Let me write a little section for me. I'm like taking notes while I'm doing this because it's supposed to be productive going forward. You know, New Year's resolution type thing. So my reason was to have a creative endeavor and see what I can put out there, and kind of that's still true. What's harder about it now is just the fact that I'm pursuing a generally difficult degree, and it takes a lot of my time and focus away from just doing just random creative endeavors. So I still want, for me right now, to have this as a creative endeavor, but I also want it to have another purpose too, almost like a reflection. Because something I noticed that you were talking about before, it was very therapeutic for you, and you just kind of have a different mindset. You want to have fun with it, and that's kind of similar to me. I would like to enjoy it, but I also would like a purpose out of it, something not only creative, but something I get out of it. And one of the things I was just talking to you earlier before is the whole reason why we called this In the Works is because we were pretty much going through life, and we realized, you know,
it's our podcast description.
Yeah.
Join the journey along two individuals who
don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah. And so pretty much what it was is, you know, we're constantly improving. We're constantly improving the podcast. We're exploring a little bit. We're things like that. And so that's something I would like to get back to, that kind of initial idea, maybe alter it a little bit from how we originally had it. But that idea of, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to explore, but we're also trying to improve. And kind of what comes out of that. is it informational stuff like here's some things I found, or is it a way to, record some sort of cool thing or things we've heard, things we've said, ideas, and not sure about that. So for me, it's the reason for the podcast would be to try to continue a creative endeavor in that manner, and the purpose just getting that improvement, getting that exploration out of that while I'm doing other things in life too. And just, for me, it's more of a moment of reflection and a moment of creation. And because that's something I don't seem to be doing a lot lately, because I'm pretty much consuming. School, you're learning, not really making. And creation is a lot harder than to just, sit down and absorb. So that's something I want to see happen.
So I was actually kind of thinking about school again.
Really?
Yeah.
In what manner? Because I know you hate school.
Yeah, just more like
the format.
I was thinking about. Okay, so I'm probably not gonna do it, but it would be a nice idea, to go and get like something in computer sciences, because that's kind of what I'm learning right now. But I rather just kind of wanna. I just kind of want to just learn my coding and just roll with it. So I don't know. There's very they're doing the same things, but they're still two very different routes.
Yeah, one is certainly more specialized in a just a particular area. Like computer science is a lot more broad of, computer science, like all the stuff dealing with computers, how they work, and but I mean, programming is a little more specific to a side of that.
Even like computer sciences, I am pretty familiar with like technology and stuff. So it's just
like the physics of it, like how it works.
I mean, generally,
like transistors and conductors, semiconductors. Yeah. I think I'm thinking of computer science, right?
Yeah, you are. But yeah, oh, it was just something I was thinking about, just because I don't know, just finding that right thing that you want to learn.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm getting old.
How old are you actually? You're 24? You're about to be 25.
Yeah, next month.
Dude. I about died when later this year, of course. Toward the end of the year, I'll turn 23.
Oh yeah, 23.
Fuck, dude. And that's not old. But that's like the end of one of my... I really like the number, when you deal with numbers a lot, you generally are dealing with like smaller numbers first.
Yeah.
In like math and stuff. So once, anytime numbers got like past 20, you just, in your head, you couldn't do as much. So you have to rely on other things. And so I don't know why, but 22 was like the cutoff of those numbers that I kind of enjoyed. And of just like really simple, easy, go for it. I think 24, well, it depends. There's a range, but I'm going to explain too much about numbers that don't matter. But pretty much after 22, things get rolling, and maybe not in life, but numbers for me, they kind of roll a lot faster. So I turned 21. I was like, wow. And then I turned 22. I was like, I really like the number 22. And 23, I'm like, I don't like 23 as much. Although 24 is nice and 25, but after that, the numbers kind of get a little weird, and then they just start to roll. And I feel like that happens with life too. So I'm a little freaked out that I'll be 23. And apparently no one likes you when you're 23. So
yeah, I can agree. Actually, I don't even remember anything when I was 23. But you know what they say, the 30s are the new 20s.
Don't know what that means. I've never been 30 before, so
just know that you're still young.
Okay. I know that much. I'm got plenty of time, and I talk to a lot of, I don't want to say older because they're not like old, but older individuals, and they're just like, oh, you're so young, you have so much time, and so I hear that so much that I'm like, okay, I got time.
Yeah, right now I'm hearing a lot of people figure out what they want to do career wise and start making a living in their 30s now
Yeah.
rather than their 20s. And the people in their 20s who already have that.
I just
Alright.
want to
Yeah.
make the most of my youth before, it starts to fade away.
For sure.
Because I know in your 30s, like you don't suddenly degrade or anything, especially if you keep up with a healthy lifestyle. But from what I hear from people, even those who are super active and eat real good, is, I mean, things are just a little like you notice a difference, and like you may have to warm up a little more. You can't just go into a workout. Like,
Man, I already feel that just from like when I was 18
yeah.
to now.
I will say, okay, I feel like I'm in a better position in that respect though, because when I was younger and I'd go into a workout, like I would certainly hurt myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but now I could go into a workout and because I know what I know, I can jump into it without hurting myself. So, but I don't know.
Good times. Good
Yeah.
times.
Jeez.
I remember hurting myself all the time.
So these are kind of the things you are looking for, and we're looking for in this podcast, having fun with it. For you, therapeutic for your mental health. You just want to talk about some things, get stuff off your chest. I want to reflect, see improvement, and, have some sort of creative thing. How do we make this happen? What sort of ideas or things did you have in your head that either altered or changed or completely different? Could be ones that we'll never do, but what sort of things did you have in your mind?
So we've discussed a lot about what we wanted to do with the podcast. Some things we implemented, some things we didn't implement, but they are still good ideas, and I'm sure we'll get to it in the future once we have some sort of time or anything.
I feel like it's one of those things where we have to jump into it. Of course, some things are very time dependent,
Yeah.
but I don't want to ever put things out to like, oh, once we have more time, because then it'll.
Well, it's
when
definitely
will anyone have more time?
it's definitely more of, if we add something, it would still be recorded, and then we would still have to edit.
Yeah.
And that's the time that
That's
I'm
the time
worried
piece.
about, because even if we spent a whole day to do something just to make like a 12-minute video,
Man, let's start
Like,
a bit
it's-
smaller, man.
I'm just saying, like, it's gonna be a bit, so it'd be nice to have some sort of help
Yeah.
with that sort of stuff, although we can't really pay and we're not making anything and it's been a year,
Yeah.
which is fine. But it's getting a little bit more difficult to keep up with our ideas and what we can do.
I feel like there's a separation between our ideas and our action. And I feel like that's one of our biggest issues, is we do talk a lot about things, but I mean, how often do we really do them? Because there have been quite a few things that we do. We say, okay, let's try this, and then we try it. And we've done that a lot. That's something I will say. From our first podcast to this podcast, we have tried a bunch of different things, and things that are noticeable on screen and things that we've done off screen for other purposes. And so, it's not complete disconnect, but I feel like we've talked a lot about a lot of things, and we haven't figured out how to get them done. In a sense, like, okay, instead of, oh, we don't have time for that. Instead, like, how can we make this happen with not having time? So, I mean, personally for me, that's one improvement. I'm gonna make a little improvement column.
I definitely think we need help.
But yeah, how can we make things happen without any excuses?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's generally just the same. It's just like, even if we did, make room and time for stuff, we're still very limited because we have separate schedules. Right now, I'm only available in the mornings, and that's pretty much it.
And I'm only available on Friday.
Yeah. So Only so much we can do about that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's unless we can just. Nope, I don't even know.
yeah. All right. So we've established a disconnect with ideas. Let's throw out some ideas out.
Okay.
So, for one, I know we wanted guests.
Mm-hmm. So friends, we need friends.
Yes. So, what's our purpose for the guests, though? What would be using the guests for? I don't want to say using, talking to them for. We're gonna use you.
I feel like the guest, it wouldn't really matter of like so much what topic we talk about. It's just more of getting an insight from another person, and I think that's a really valuable thing, because you get not only what you and I think, but it's a different opinion from someone else.
Okay. Should it be about insight about something specific, or just conversation in general?
I want to say just conversation in general, because it can still be specific.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for our podcast, it's mostly just us talking to each other. So adding that third person or fourth person and hearing their side, because
Of just life.
of just life, because we don't really talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like agreeing with each other back and forth, maybe we can get something like, oh, why do you think that? Because I think this type of stuff, rather than just, oh yeah, I agree.
It's like, yeah, we're on the same page, bro. Wow, the world is so easy.
But the world is not easy. We just happen to have a lot of similar thinking, which is nice. And that's why our podcast has probably been going for so long.
And well, it's been talking about similar things every time. I feel like it's very connected.
But
so
yeah, I definitely think that having those guests on our podcast would definitely put more, I guess, elaboration on certain subjects, or just talking about their personal life or experience, so other people can connect with that more.
Gotcha. I think that's a fantastic idea. Although it's a hard time getting guests, it feels like, and I feel like that's just us not going and getting guests.
No, yeah.
What sort of thing would how many guests? What kind of guests? Just friends? Just people? Should I get specific people on if I have a specific topic? Or
honestly, I feel like that's just kind of up to you.
okay, just the reason.
In my head, it's just anyone, really. You
Okay.
can just grab anyone, as long as they're not like a serial killer, or a complete stranger. Just anyone.
All right. Friends or specific topic, doesn't matter. So, one thing that I found interesting was that you were talking about, like, since we have a dedicated laptop for this sort of thing, one that's strong enough to handle things, and then we have this little Rodecaster here, which you said is portable, and then we have microphones.
Yes.
Setting where? Should we be here? Should we change our setup? What other options can we do? And
So
how would we get that done?
instead of being under all these LED/fluorescent lights,
Mm-hmm.
you could easily take it outside, go somewhere.
Do some winter podcasts while it's snowing. I would actually like that.
We don't need these microphones per se. We do have, what are they pronounced lavalier?
Lavalier microphones.
Lavalier microphones. We do have that option. The only thing with that option is I don't think it connects to the Rodecaster. Maybe it does. I don't think it
Isn't
does.
it Rodecaster though? The lavalier?
It is.
Yeah.
It is their brand.
Can we run it off of your computer though, since I think it has its own tiny little dedicated device, right? And then
I believe so, but we'll have to see.
we just wouldn't have headphones, right?
Pretty much no headphones.
That's not the worst though if we're outside.
So The only thing with that is the audio will be separate from the video.
Gotta align them.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it won't be hard. You know, you start up both and you're just like, all right, 1, 2, 3. Make sure it lines up when you do that, and the rest should follow suit.
So if we're doing this outside, where would we go for that sort of thing? So we're not bothered. Good lighting.
Honestly, you could even
Chill.
just go to a park where there's just a gazebo.
Oh, yeah.
You can go there. You
And-
can maybe even a lake at a secluded area.
If we have the lavalier mics and then we're just using the computer, then it has its own battery and it's not like big production-esque, so we wouldn't have to worry about getting shit jacked easily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and having to set up a bunch. That could actually be interesting. Like this morning was extremely beautiful. Very nice weather out. This would have been a good morning to maybe go to a park and do a podcast. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, most definitely. The only thing we really need to test with the laptop is battery life while it's recording,
Yes.
because I know off the charger it lasts for 3 hours idle.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a terrible battery.
It's the biggest battery they have. And the
Is that just a beefcake?
yeah, the
Yeah.
charger is 300 watts.
I'm gonna have to bring a big battery or something. I know they
I
make
think-
like the
Your average gaming computer is 600 watts,
man.
and that's enough to upgrade even further from
Mhm.
like you can have a lot of room to upgrade at 600 watt. So
Buying
this is like, yeah,
Buy an attachment, the whole bottom is a battery. Just sticks right in there.
no, just get like a portable battery.
Yeah, I've seen a couple
generator.
of those. There's like there's one I think it's called the Jackery, and then
Mm.
there are like offshoots or something like that. That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to test battery life, and then 'cause that'd be cool to have the next podcast outside.
That would be cool.
Although I don't know if it'll be nice next or
That's-
2 Fridays from now. It should be. We're going into fall, but who
If
knows?
anything, even if the battery, starts to get low for our trial run, we can have our podcast even like 40 minutes long. It's
We could, yeah, or we could just pause it,
or pause it.
charge it, and come back.
Yeah,
Hey,
we'll
so we
just
had
pause
to
it, charge it at home, wait in like an hour, and then come back.
make it seem like nothing happened. Just just continue the conversation, try to get the framing all right.
Funny enough, I think we did that on one of our last podcasts.
Yeah.
The charging aspect, but it's just like, hold on, I gotta go pee.
Or-
pause it.
Do you remember when you we ordered pizza and it was taking forever?
Oh,
so we're
that's
just
what
like,
it was.
might as well just do the podcast, and then all of a sudden, just this faint like bell, like it's like. I think you could see it in the podcast. I forget which one it was, but just like a slight cock of the head, and we're like, "Is that the pizza?" And then pause, and we're coming back, and we're eating pizza. That's fun shit.
Wow, that was fun.
Yeah. Okay, so setting, we could do it outside. We could in here, and I think that's kind of really freeing in a sense that we don't have to do it just right in this room, and it could kind of bring some. What is it? Some interesting things to our background.
Oh,
And
if anything, we could even record on like a phone because it has 4K recording.
I guess, yeah. We would just we would need a little oh, we do have a tripod, yeah.
Yeah, because it can still do 4K at 30 frames. It can do 4K at 60 frames. But that's even more data, so 30
Okay.
frames.
Doesn't matter. That'd be something next time. Would you want to try that?
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be our action. Ideas to action. That's what should be a segment. No. So yeah, that would be our setting. So we got guests, our setting. What are some other things that you had in your head, or things we improvement wise? We could say the podcast itself, or any extra content anywhere.
I definitely think our podcast is headed in the right direction. At first, we talked about just really ourselves and our experiences, and then we started talking about more focused, just ways to help yourself, just like more tools to improve yourself or just better yourself,
or just some interesting things.
yeah. So I definitely think that there is a good in between for the both of them. So it would be more, I guess it'd feel more of a relaxed podcast and more, I don't know how to put it in words. I just think it would be I don't know what word I'm looking for.
It'd be more comfortable, more genuine. It wouldn't be as stiff.
Yeah.
A little more free moving. If instead of just focusing on the topic, we actually maybe converse a little bit beforehand or
Yes.
hand some things out. Yeah.
Thank you for filling in.
Something we talked about before was, the topics for the podcast, not necessarily just finding a random one, but I'm not sure if I said this on the podcast just now or right before when we were speaking, but when I was talking about that improvement and in the works portion, and maybe we have our goals or things we're trying to accomplish or work on, maybe personally or for the both of us. And we take an aspect of that and then we break that down and make it into a podcast. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to be an engineer, or I'm trying to, not go into debt at school.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe one of the podcasts would be breaking down finances in that section, or applying for scholarships and how I was doing that and my methods to try and do that. And we could talk about that whole topic of scholarships. So something that would help, something that goes along with what we're doing for ourselves, and just kind of bringing that to light. Hey, I'm trying to be an engineer. I need to pay for school. So we're going to talk about paying for school.
I like that.
So stuff like that. Kind of topics along our goals in life, goals of improvement.
Mm-hmm.
What would be one for you that you were thinking of?
Honestly, at this point, I have no idea.
Hey, maybe that should be the next podcast. We kind of figure out what we talk about. We do some self-reflecting and like, what would my ideal self be? What are my goals? And then go from there.
Because like when it comes to my ideal self,
or we should do one on the ideal self first.
Okay.
Yeah, but okay, continue.
It's very up in the air because it's always changing, I want to say. When I feel like I am good at one spot, I'm not actually.
You're not good.
I'm not good.
It's called the ideal self for a reason, though, because first off, you're never gonna fully be that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have aspects of it or get close. Although you're never gonna be that way. If you're being your ideal self, it doesn't mean that you are your ideal self. It means you're so close to doing that. You're functioning so close to your ideal self that you might as well call it your ideal self. Like, you are the best you can be, even though it's known that one could always do better in every aspect, but you could do pretty fucking good. So I don't know that. Yeah, let's do a podcast on the ideal self.
I like that.
And like a self-reflection too. So
next
not just
podcast. Tune in to what was it?
Ideal self.
Ideal self.
Yeah, but we could do that outside and take a minute to self-reflect. So maybe instead of the topic being, all about the ideal self and that's it, try to apply that to us, like the application of the ideal self to us. So what is it? And how are you applying it to you? So maybe that.
I know this goes to a block.
Oh, you're talking about a wire? Yeah.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I'm like confusing myself.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how the next one would go, because if this needs an outlet.
Oh, you're talking about power source stuff. Yeah, I mean, if we use the lavaliers if we're going outside and recording stuff, if we use the lavaliers, we could connect it to a phone or computer, right? So then we wouldn't even need this big thing.
That's true. Okay.
So,
but yeah, I should be getting that back this week. Tomorrow.
Oh, someone borrowed it.
Yeah,
Nice.
my sister for her Africa trip.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll get that tomorrow.
So I guess I don't know, what are some other things? So extra content wise?
Extra content.
Yeah. What would you like to see? I haven't really thought about that too much recently, just because of, doing school and kind of being constrained on even podcast work.
Yeah, like extra content wise, like we had a bunch of ideas before that I really liked, but it's more of finding the balance between, or juggling between life, like for you at school and then podcast stuff and like working on that. And that's been very difficult even for me.
So I did just think of something. Using it as an exploration. So sometimes it's hard to do something different when you've been doing it a certain way for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So say the podcast, we've been doing it a certain way for a while, and it's hard to completely change it, switch it up, like dramatically flip the tables on it.
Yeah.
And just have everything function the same. So we will make changes, but there's always going to be some sort of consistency, I think, between the two.
Yes.
Or between things. But extra content, we could try different things that maybe we have an idea for and throw it out there as extra content, not as the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's something that sticks or you like doing, keep doing that. And so maybe using the extra content as your the research and the exploration into creativity.
Yeah. I'm gonna try, and I don't know why I really stopped. I'm gonna try and vlog more about my day again.
Oh yeah.
Because I still have some footage. I think it was just getting around and editing, because I'm having a hard time finding. I'm having a hard time editing for the podcast itself. So like segments and TikToks, it's very hard to find time for that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons, that was one of the things I had to stop doing just so I could try and keep up. But even now, I just can't keep up with all those things.
Oh, I feel you on that. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. You got anything else that...
I can't think of anything really.
Just different aspects of changing or trying. So, ideas to action, I think, is the biggest one for me that I'm taking away from this.
Mm-hmm.
Ideas to action. Because
some kind of like physical proof that we're like moving on ahead.
Doing something, yeah. Because if you look back now and you look back and then you look at now, I mean, there are certainly differences and changes and getting better at talking into a mic and researching things and getting a topic. But where have we gone at all? What have we done?
True.
Do we have, like, what's our goal with all this? You know what I mean? Like, what's the purpose? And, purpose can always be something simple like, hey, I just like talking. But even so, that's not really what our purpose has been. I think our purpose has been very blurry. And that's one main reason I wanted to do this, is maybe clear up our purpose and give us a little more direction.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And also, if we look at what we've done and even the success of the podcast, we don't have that many listeners, like, at all.
Nope. Hey, shout out to my few listeners out there.
Yeah, those couple.
1, 2, maybe even 3.
And success isn't going to happen overnight, but being able to create something that is valuable to others, I mean, it's a fair barometer, because even if you have a very niche audience for what you like to do, there will be people who will find value in things that you like to do. So I feel like it's the fact that there's only like 2 people that listen. That is pretty awesome.
That is cool.
But it's also, okay, what are we doing? What are we not doing to where more people would find this valuable? So it's that balance between what's valuable to me and also can this be valuable to others? Because if it's valuable to me and only to me, then put away the mics. We'll just talk to each other about topics without a camera or a microphone, so the other balance would be valuable to other people. That's where the microphones and the camera come in. So that's kind of improving on both sides there of how can we make this valuable to everyone else? How can it be valuable to me? Idea to action.
Got it.
And then value. Value for me, value for others.
You get value. You get value. You get value.
Value.
You all get value.
Stop making it not a word anymore. Value, 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 value. You val?
Valorant?
No. A valve?
Valve?
All right. Anyway, do you have anything else to kind of add?
Absolutely not.
All right. So kind of the things that, just to summarize, that I wrote down, as far as maybe more podcast purpose, topics that align with, goals and value in life, and yes, just inviting people to gain insight. And maybe inviting people, the insight is just discussion and fun. Maybe some people, the insight is on a specific topic. Setting, we don't have to be here. We can go elsewhere. And we have the equipment to go elsewhere. So maybe we should try that. And I would love to do that 2 weeks later from now. Try that out. Podcast, maybe only 20% of it, or maybe only 80% of it is the focus on the topic of the aligned topic. And then the other 20% is us giving updates, just talking person to person, because something we used to do and then we just don't do as much.
Yep.
Extra content, using that as exploration. Hey, I want to try this. Let's do something new. And then we'll see how it sticks.
Speaking of that, remember when we were just like, we should have a segment, like, let's have a diner theme.
Oh, yes. Is it still up there?
No, I just remembered it. I was like, wow, that was a thing.
That was a thing. I feel like that would be cool. I'm not sure that's something sustainable I would want to do, but a little thing, like, that's the need more time.
Like a certain amount of time. Like, we'll keep it going as long as we can.
Yeah, right? or do it extra, just an extra, 10 minute or 5 minute thing. Okay, that's something. File that away. Shit. And that's where that ideas to action. Yeah. Okay, let's do it type thing. So that's another thing that we were doing. Ideas to action.
Good time.
Trying to take what we have in our head and do it. Have something to show for it. So I don't know. Maybe we could craft some sort of mission statement. Be one of those fools.
You fool.
Or just take this as a barometer and go. So I don't know. How you feeling?
I feel like we've covered it all.
Or at least the big stuff that we need.
Definitely. And going forward, I definitely think the podcast will get better and better, regardless of how much content we put out.
Quality over quantity. Yeah. So, although they say quantity, if you just pump things out, you're gonna figure things out faster. But
I think that's more of, we need to figure out how to manage our schedules.
Yeah, time management.
What we're doing. Yeah.
There's another topic. No.
Yeah, but we already had that topic. I mean, we could revisit it.
Yeah, maybe in a different aspect.
Yeah.
Because not just saying what time management is, but maybe
you can get a guest
how you're gonna.
Because I'm pretty sure that podcast was just you and me.
Yeah. Get a guest on time management. Let's see, who knows how to manage their time.
I don't think anyone does.
I don't know. All the people I'm thinking of are like 20 years older than me, and I'm not sure if they would. Oh, even better for guests, they may be a little more hesitant to do a podcast if it's in a basement, but
Yes.
if it's outside,
Ah, yes, out in public. Yeah. Plus, I don't want them knowing where I live.
yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Oh, but the thing is, if it's outside, I need to figure out the mic situation.
Oh, are there only 2 mics?
There's only 2. I mean, you could share one.
Yeah, or we can figure out how to connect one of these two.
Yeah. We'll work out stuff.
Okay, but all right, next podcast, we want to maybe do ideal self. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
And not just what it is, but in terms of you.
Mm.
So that's going to take some actual self-reflection.
Fun.
So we can talk about what it is and then how it applies to each of us, maybe what our ideal selves are. All right.
Well, I guess that's it.
Well, guys, thank you for listening to our meeting and our discussion. Those who are actually listening, thank you for listening. It means a lot. And if you have any ideas of improvements or stuff we've done well that you'd like to continue to see, other things where you're like, I would like you guys to do this sort of thing, because I see it. Let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think. And yeah, I mean, I read them. So far, it's only been like 3-word comments.
No, there's that really long one on one of our segments.
Was it from Cody?
No,
Who was it from?
it was the brain guy.
Maybe I didn't read that one. You read that one,
Yeah,
though.
I replied to it.
Okay.
I
Nice.
still didn't do any research on it.
On what?
You just need to read the comment.
Okay, I'll read the comment.
Yeah.
One of us will see it, though. So I've been trying to keep up on it, but it's mostly been like 1-word things
Uh-huh.
and only like a couple. And Raviv, thank you for commenting. Very
Thank you. Yeah.
And there's one other person who said some encouraging words as well, but I don't know who they are, their account. I don't know who they are. So it may be somebody I know, maybe not. But yeah. Anyway, I guess with all that.
Follow us on.
Oh, we forgot to
On
talk about social
Spotify.
media. We'll talk about that afterward, though.
Yeah. So follow us on Spotify so you can keep updated on the new podcast we do. We do it bi-weekly right now. Hopefully we can get back to weekly depending on how well we can manage our time.
Yeah, that'd be nice to do it weekly again. But the biggest thing is finding the time to study the thing we're talking about, because
Before it kind of felt rushed sometimes.
yeah.
So-
And I like with this, it gives me time to kind of marinate on it. So even if I don't research a shit ton, it's still floating around in my brain. It's like a giant net that's just collecting things here and there. So
But yeah, so we'll try and do that. But for updates on our podcast, just go ahead and follow us on Spotify. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and, hit that notification bell, like our video, help us, get out through, I don't know, just get out in the world. Really. I don't know
actually
how
have
else to
listeners
put it. Yeah.
following. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do like the way we think, the way we talk, how our podcast goes, please go ahead and share. And
Oh yeah, that's a big one. That does a lot more. People are more likely to look into something if you're like, hey, check these people out.
yeah. And for one of our podcasts, that's exactly what happened for one of them, because our guest Cody, he's just an overall cool dude. I love him. But he just told all of his friends, and that's how we got our 60-some views.
Yeah, that one
That
time.
was our
yeah.
most viewed podcast.
That'd be it. I think I just love guest podcasts. They just offer a lot more. Talking to people, really, they just offer so much. Offer so much.
I do.
All right. Well, I guess with all that, finally,
All right. Well,
you guys take care. You have a great day.
see you in 2 weeks.
And see you then.
Bye.